Have you ever looked at a tube map and wondered, what's it like at the edge of the map? And why is there a little line all by itself in the corner? Shall we go and find out? Welcome to Havering for a mini Journey of the Month. And we're going to start that way. Today I'm taking the Liberty line from Romford to distant Upminster, a mind-boggling 3.4 miles away. We begin in Romford, named after the River Rom, which flows... Wrong! The river is named after the town, which itself is named after the Old English rum, meaning spacious or wide, and ford, meaning fiesta, river crossing. Wait, so the river's named after itself? What? The history of Romford is entwined with its status as the centre of the Liberty of Havering, the doohickery of watering now. So a liberty was basically a medieval concept, an area that was granted a degree of freedom by the monarch. Locals had more autonomy to raise and spend taxes and enforce laws. It's not a million miles away from Scotland with its devolved government. No, it's more like 270 miles away in kind of that direction. To learn more about the history of the area, why not check out the Havering Museum, housed in a former brewery? Emphasis former. After the Liberty was abolished in the late Victorian period, Romford ultimately came under the jurisdiction of the London Borough of Havering. But remnants of the area's history still remain. Romford Market was established by Royal Charter nearly 800 years ago and prohibits any other market from being held within 6.66 miles of this site, a right the council still invokes to this day. Why 6.66 miles? Apparently that's how far you can drive sheep in a day. Now that makes sense. Sheep have notoriously bad miles to the gallon. For a more efficient mode of transport, there's only really one to consider, and that's trains, which I admit you probably saw coming. The route between here and Upminster was built in the 1890s by the London, Tilbury and Southend Railway, who ran trains between Fenchurch Street, Tilbury Docks and beyond. They built it largely because they wanted to Bagsy the route so that their competitors, the Great Eastern Railway, couldn't get there first. And the pettiness doesn't stop there. It stopped here. See, Romford Station was owned by the now jilted Great Eastern, so when the London and Tilbury asked to bring their line here, they were met with short shrift and had to build their own station, which is now this building behind me. In fairness, the other station is literally just over the road behind these buses. The two stations were eventually joined up, but that's why when you come to the Liberty Line platform today, you have to cross over this footbridge tucked down one end of platform 2. Let's get moving. Fast forward to 2015 and the line became part of the London Overground as the shortest of its 6 lines and the only one not to connect to any of the others. Finally, last year the line was named the Liberty Line after the early noughties pop group Liberty X. Yeah, I know they say that it's after the Liberty of Havering, but I know the truth. I've reached Emerson Park, the least used station on the whole Overground. It opened in 1909 as Emerson Park Halt, sometime after the line was built to support housing development in the local area. Its heyday was in the 1970s when it formed part of the acclaimed progressive rock trio Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Ask your dad. Nowadays, it's an essential local link, but it's also very peaceful. If you're a London transport enthusiast, it's one of those that you just got to tick off just to say that you've been. Okay, I've been now, so let's finish the journey. And so 9 minutes after leaving Romford, the Liberty line arrives in Upminster, completing the journey. By the way, did you know that there's a working windmill just down the road? This is one of only a small handful of working windmills in London that you can actually visit.
A windmill like this would have been really important to the community. They would have not only have supplied the wheat to the local community, they also would have likely have ground the wheat for local farmers, so it would have been highly relied on. There was a point in 1899 when the sales broke and the local community helped chip in about a third of the price to get them fixed.
So how much work is it to maintain a windmill like this and keep it moving?
When the windmill was first up and running, it'd have been a little bit easier than we have it now because the millwright would have been trained to have looked after the windmill, whereas now, since the restoration, we're looking after it as the Friends of Upminster Windmill. We're a group of volunteers and we do all of the upkeep between us. We're very lucky that we've got some brilliant volunteers that are trained in these things. We've got mechanics, carpenters, especially when it comes to keeping everything oiled and lubricated to make sure our sails keep turning.
One more thing I want to shout out. A short walk from the Upminster Windmill is section 23 of the amazing London Loop. This is a footpath that goes right the way around the edge of Greater London, along hills and forests and canals, and it's split into 24 manageable sections, each starting and ending at public transport. And if you follow the route a little way south, you'll reach the fantastic Hornchurch Country Park, the site of the former RAF Hornchurch, which protected London during both World Wars. You can still find evidence of its military past scattered throughout the marshes of the Ingrebourne Valley. TfL have created walking routes associated with all 6 overground lines, which you can can follow using an app called Go Jauntly. Why not check out some of what I've seen today for yourself? Or maybe you could go and discover one of the other lines. I'm back at Upminster, where the Liberty meets the end of the District line. And at the end of the platform, an old signal box. And off into the eastern distance, the main line built by the London, Tilbury and Southend Railway, who ultimately constructed the route I've been on today just so that their rivals couldn't. And look, I've played Ticket to Ride, I get it. I hope you've enjoyed our journey. I, for one, have been having a really nice time. Join me in the next journey of the month for a very exciting trip out on the Elizabeth line.